What's good, guys? It's Ilson 4K, and you know why you're here, and I know why you're here. Because you saw it, and I saw it. 2019's Trick. Yes, 2019, bit of a more updated current affair on the Horror-Ween special, which is, of course, my month-long special where we celebrate all the horror movies that take place on Halloween. Make sure you like and subscribe to keep on seeing more that come out if you like this. And speaking of like this, I wasn't really sure if I did like this. Trick is a very unique horror film in the sense that it kind of is more of a cop drama affair than it is a horror flick, and it almost tries to be Saw, I want to say, in the sense of how the cop pursues the killer out there, and the fact the killer is a younger individual versus an older man, and we kind of have this appearance that this is a supernatural affair and that this person keeps on coming back. The movie actually kind of builds its own little mini trilogy in it, which we'll talk about in the review as well. It's an okay film, to be quite honest with you. It's something that I almost didn't want to review, but I wanted to put something out there that nobody is really familiar with that much, and you should go and see yourself to make your own conclusions, because if you're into the whole cop drama, you know, CSI, whatever, you're gonna kind of like this because that's how the dialogue works, and the gore is actually fantastic. We'll talk about that as well, how gory that is. But again, guys, we're going to talk about this right now. We're going to get into the plot and how this movie works. The most okayest Horror-Ween movie on the list is definitely 2019's Trick, and we're going to talk about why right now. Okay. So we got a pretty cool plot here. Movie starts out Halloween night, 2015 in Benton, New York. We see high school senior Patrick Weaver, aka Trick, the main killer in this, playing spin the bottle at a Halloween party, but instead of a bottle, he's using a knife with the word Trick carved on one side and Treat carved onto the other, and you really need to make sure to get familiar with this knife because you're going to see it for the rest of the movie as its preferred weapon. He spins the knife and it actually lands on a guy versus a girl. Other players tease Trick, who seems reluctant to kiss this guy, that he's a little bitch and should just get on with it. Trick decides fuck that shit and grabs the knife and stabs 5 of these people to death before finally being stabbed with a fire poker himself and taken to the hospital. At the hospital, we meet the main protagonist of this, Detective Mike Denver. He wishes to remove the Halloween face paint that's on Trick's face after they've taken off his pumpkin mask, but Trick decides to pull a fast one and flips the bed over and escapes. Keep in mind, this individual was just handcuffed to the bed and found a way out and starts slaughtering people through the hospital using surgical equipment and, ironically enough, his very handcuffs that he just broke out of. We see Mike Denver and meet Sheriff Lisa Jane as they shoot Trick several times, and he falls out of the window onto the road below, but then disappears into the river. During police interviews, everybody that they asked, including Troy, the big jock that was making fun of Trick, if he ever made fun of them and what he looks like. All the students provide contradictory descriptions of Trick's appearance, and no one has ever met Trick's parents, and Trick's registered address turns out to be a dockyard, and the two-faced pumpkin mask Trick was wearing that night disappears from the evidence file. And that's really kind of cool because all of these cliffhanger moments lead up to Halloween 2016, where Trick uses the same knife to kill students and teachers at a high school Halloween dance in Riverton, New York, not too far from Benton, New York. Once again, moving onward, in 2017, more bodies are found at the Halloween party at the Hudson Village, New York. Then, on October 30th, 2018, Detective Denver warns 2 agents in Shady Creek, New York, that Trick could attack there, basically being located along the same river where all the attacks have occurred. While in a bar, Trick surprises them all and kills the 2 agents in one of the most brutal killing scenes I've seen in a while, because this movie is, again, not the strongest on the story, but it's great in delivery and kill. So we fast forward October 30th, 2019, a murder site in Benton, New York, where Trick started his original murder spree in 2015, and the word Denver is written on blood at the murder site. The next day, Trick shows up to a now unemployed Denver who has lost his job due to being unnaturally obsessed with the case outside of his car, and is then chased through a cemetery before disappearing. From there, Trick decides to send fake text messages to lure Deputy Green, another cop, to the old crane barge where his address was written, where he injures her with a booby trap in Saw style and then kills her by swinging a crane using a gravestone through the windshield where she's sitting in the car after she is taken from being fucked up by this trap. Sheriff Jane notes that the gravestone belongs to Agent Christina Mendez, whom Trick killed the previous year, and is why Denver has lost his job. So one thing I really cannot take away from this film in terms of its execution as a horror film versus this hybrid horror cop drama thing, the kills are fantastic. I mean, the kills are killing sprees, they're gory, there's a lot of stab kills, which you can imagine because of the main weapon, like I said, but there's just a lot of cool shit, as I mentioned in the plot. There's some kills that are just out of control. This is a really innovative and resourceful individual, and it's just a great thing to see in the film that the killer is just so brutal and they did not hold back. And I mean, there are some violent scenes in here that totally are worth watching just to see it once for the kills alone. Also, we totally got to take a moment to realize that this movie has some horror movie excellence in it. We have Tom Atkins, aka the pimp love doctor from Halloween 3 that we all know and love, playing Talbot, the individual who is a horror movie fanatic and actually has a horror movie night every Halloween. And then we have Jamie Kennedy, who you know as Stu, I believe, from Scream in series 1 and 2 when he dies in the second movie. For those of you who don't know, they have them here, which is great because again, this is a 2019 film, so it's kind of cool to see them pull in these two legends respectively from their genres, and I just thought it was fantastic. Now, going on elsewhere in this town is the individual that Tom Atkins is playing, known as Talbot, having himself a haunted maze and horror film fest that he always has at his venue every year, and the police are starting to get worried that this might be the next place where Trick decides to hit. We notice that Cheryl, an original survivor of the original 2015 killings, sees Trick wielding the carved knife and freaks out. Trick then stabs Nikki, so Detective Denver sends her to the hospital, and Cheryl accompanies her, where Cheryl finds that Trick has killed and hospitalized her father. Yes, randomness as that is, all of a sudden. Troy confesses to Detective Denver that Cheryl was the one who stabbed Trick with the fire poker, so Detective Denver and Sheriff Jane rush to the hospital to find Cheryl held captive by Trick. Trick stabs Detective Denver, Sheriff Jane multiple times before Cheryl shoots him. When Trick seems unaffected, Detective Denver jumps with Trick out the window and onto a car. Okay. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually not going to give away the ending or any spoilers or anything like that, because for as okay as this movie is, it did really try to make the ending unique and cool, and it's a 50-50 divide on how people feel about it. So if you haven't seen this movie, you should go watch it and see how you feel about it, in addition to the ending, the overall movie. If you have seen this movie, make sure you comment down below and let me know what you thought about it. The ending struck me as, okay, they really tried, but it didn't really do it for me, to be quite honest with you. So again, comment down below. I'm really interested to see your feelings on it, because some people liked it, some people didn't. I don't know. I don't know. Plot holes. That's all I'm going to say. So I got to say, overall, I'm not that impressed with this film overall. It's got its cool moments. The kills, as I stated, are fantastic. The gore is over the top. The killer is all right. You know, it's not like an iconic guy that makes me go, oh man, I really want to be Trick, or, you know, like I would love to see this guy in more stuff, etc., etc. You know, that escapism. I don't get that with the killer Trick at all, to be quite honest with you. He's not bland or boring. He's just not. The whole concept behind him just isn't very there for me, and I feel like the movie almost kind of rushes trying to build him, because they just rush through 3 trick-or-treats in a row. I'm sorry, 3 Halloweens in a row out of nowhere in under like 30 minutes, maybe 45. They run through 3 years of this guy showing up and killing people at events, and they rushed it. They tried to make it something it wasn't. I feel like the movie really wants to be Saw, but again, it comes off as more of a CSI affair. And by trying to be Saw, I mean the way the detective in Saw was always thinking and persevering, and the fact you were just as interested to see what the detective was going to come up with as much as you were to see Jigsaw's next affair. You're really just left looking forward to the next affair in this. And there is actually a little bit of element of Saw in the kills, as there are booby traps in the film, as I mentioned in the plot. And again, the movie just seems like it wants to be so many different things, but can't really hit the head on what it's trying to do. And there's just glaring issues with it, the whole plot holes to everything. And the ending tries to really cover up all of these plot holes that might make you think. But the problem is it's so jumbled together and just not greatly executed that I can see why it's a hard divide on whether or not you like the ending or not. Which is why, again, I want to ask, I couldn't just put all home runs on this list. I had to grab something that was recommended to me and different, and it just so happened, it also happened to be the movie that I was looking for that was like, meh. I can see how people like this and people don't. The reviews on this on Rotten Tomatoes and everything else are pretty low to my understanding. It has a 4.2, I think, somewhere like IMDb. I don't know. It wasn't a bad horror movie, it just was nowhere near a good horror movie. I guess that's a great way to put it. worth it for the kills. You should watch it and come to your own conclusions, see how you feel about it. Maybe you like this hybrid style affair. Maybe it works for you. I don't know. But listen, guys, thanks for watching this video. It's Ilsun4K. Make sure you like and subscribe to the channel and catch me all month long Horror-Ween specials, Halloween movies that take place on horror. I mean, horror movies that take place on Halloween. We got to watch that. We're doing a bunch more. We're just getting started. Make sure you like and subscribe. Make sure you catch me every Thursday night, 9 p.m., twitch.tv/Ilsun4K. Total Terrorathon Thursday, doing horror gaming all month, in addition to being the regular stream night I do on Twitch. Also doing late night Saturday streams, 10:30, 11 p.m., Spooktacular Saturdays, or whatever I'm calling it. Definitely look forward to seeing you there. Thanks for watching the video, and look forward to more. Like and subscribe. It's Ilsun4K.